Okay, we're going to be starting off this brand new unit here. We're going to be starting the Word 2000 Unit A on there, and we're going to start off by taking a look at the objectives, and then we're going to cover the first couple of objectives in this first video. The objectives for this unit is going to be that we're going to be able to understand word processing software. We're going to be able to explore the Word program window. We're going to be able to start a document and save a document. Selecting text, formatting text using the mini toolbar, creating a document using a template, and viewing and navigating through a document. Our first thing that we really need to take a look at is what is Microsoft Word. And Microsoft Word is a word processing program that is used to create all these different types of documents. Letters, memos, newsletters, research papers, web pages. Really any type of document that you've ever seen in print or most things that you see online can be used through Microsoft Word and can be created through that on there. So really the options are endless when it comes to what can you use with Word on there. Now, we did mention that Word is a word processing program, and really, if we look at the definition on page 2 as well as on the PowerPoint here, a word processing program is software that allows you to enter, edit, and format text and graphics on there. It makes it simple to insert and delete text in the document. You can add text to the middle of an existing paragraph, replace text with other text, and you can even undo editing changes on there as well. So Word is very powerful. But it also allows you to do several other things that's on there, because it allows you to copy and move text on there. And most of the terms that you're going to be looking at when we deal with Word is things that you can actually do to physical objects, like copy and paste and cut and paste on there. And that's where Word typically got most of its terminology at on there. But we talked about you can copy and move text from one location to another on there. You can do that between files. You can do it within its own document. Also, you're going to be able to format text with fonts and colors. So you're going to be able to give your Word documents different looks and different feels. So you can change the size, style, and color of the text. You can add lines, shading, and anything really to enhance the text that you're using to make it a little bit more visually appealing to the reader. You can actually also format and design the page layout. It gives you the power to design attractive newsletters, create powerful resumes, and other documents like business cards, CD labels, and books. You can change the paper size, the orientation of your document, organize text in columns, and you can also control the layout of text and graphics on each page of a document on there. Now, there's a lot of different settings that you can do with this, and we're going to learn those settings as we get through there. Also, you can enhance the documents with tables, charts, diagrams, and graphics, and that's where you can insert those. And a lot of times, where they do say a picture's worth 1,000 words, well, this is where Word allows you to do that on there. And then, of course, one of the last bullet points on there was something we're not going to cover in this class, but it is a very powerful tool of Word, and that is the mail merge, where you can create form letters on there. So you can take a simple letter that you've already written and address it to several different people and have it print out a copy for each individual person on there. And all the files that you use to create, everything that we've seen on this list right here, all those things are called documents on there. And those are the files that you are going to be creating in Word. So whenever we say you're going to make a new document, that means you're going to be opening up Word and creating a new file. These are just some of the elements that you could use in a Word document on there, such as a header, graphics, text, tables, charts, and columns. And we'll be taking a look at how to do these type of things later on in this Word section. One of the major things that you need to do before actually creating a document is really to plan it out on there. First of all, you need to identify several different things. First of all, your message. What are you trying to say? Second, your audience. Who are you trying to say this to? Any needed elements you may have, such as, do I need a chart? Do I need a table? Do I need a graphic here? And also, you really need to identify whatever tone and look you want for the document. If you have something that's like a resume, it needs to be very formal looking, very businesslike on there. It needs to have that serious tone. Word will allow you to do that. However, if you're making something like a flyer that can be colorful, eye-catching, fun to read, then that's when you can get a little bit more playful with it, and Word has tools to do all those. Ultimately, the purpose in the design, purpose of the audience that you have on there is going to determine how the design is. For example, if you're going to be making it something for your classmates, you might make it a little bit more fun. However, if you're trying to get a job and filling out a resume, it's going to be a little bit more formal. We're going to take a quick look around the Word program window and just some of the key elements on that, and then we'll actually go out and take a look at some of those elements in the Word document or the Word window. And the Word program window opens up and displays a blank document. So we see here that this, whenever you open up Word, it gives you a blank document. There's no words on it, no lines, nothing. It's just ready for your creation. The insertion point that we see here is going to indicate where the text appears when you type. And the text always will appear on the left-hand side of that insertion point. The insertion point moves to the right every time you type a letter. So whenever you're typing words and everything else in, the insertion point is going to move every time you type a letter on there, and it's going to move one place to the right. And then, of course, we do have an I-beam pointer up here as well, and that's actually going to allow us to move the insertion point in our document or to select text, and we'll see how to do that a little bit later on. The mouse pointer, if you take a look on page Word 5 at table A1, will change shape depending on where it's at in the Word program window, and each pointer is used for a different purpose. One of them that's on there that we'll probably be using is the click and type pointers, and that's ultimately used to position the insertion point and to apply paragraph formatting, such as if you want it to be the text to be centered, or if you want it to have a print layout or web layout. Those click and type pointers, we'll see some of those a little bit later on. But there is a selection pointer, much like what you've been seeing moving around the screen here, and that is when you click a button or other element of the Word program window, and it will appear when you point to elements such as buttons and commands. There is a right pointing arrow, so typically arrows point to the left, but sometimes in Word they'll point to the right, and that allows you to select lines or lines of text on there. There's a hand pointer, which is the one that opens up hyperlinks, much like you would see on a web page. And we'll also be taking a look at the show and hide white space pointer, but we'll do that at a later point in time on there. Taking a look here, these are just a few elements of the Word program window that you need to become familiar with, such as the quick access toolbar up here. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the office button, which is this little circle right up here. We're going to be talking about the tabs, which are like home, insert, page layout, reference, mailings, review, and those are our tabs. And connected to each of those tabs is the ribbon. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the title bar up here, which is going to show us the name of the document as well as the program we're in. Word also allows us to have rulers, so we can kind of see where we're at on a page and how we can measure out things on there to determine out, where am I writing at. And ultimately, when you see this white area here, that's going to be the writable area of a page, while the grayed out area is going to be the margins, and that's stuff you're not going to be able to see. And also we have the status bar down here, which is going to give you a status of where you're at in the document, and as well as several other features. These are the view buttons, which we'll take a look at here in just a minute as well, and also our zoom slider. And also we've noticed here that there's a scroll bar, and you may be saying, well, there's only one scroll bar here. Well, if you zoom in on this document using the zoom slider, you will eventually get the horizontal one here as well, depending on how close you are to the document. The ribbon, this is brand new for 2007, and it's carried on to the other newer versions on there, is what contains the tabs, and that is such as the home, insert, page layout. Each of those is what we call the tabs. And there's a ribbon that's associated with it, and inside that ribbon on there, that's going to be groups of commands on there. And as we see here that they're kind of divided up, how there's these little lines right here. Well, each of those represents a group, and the group's name is underneath that, such as the clipboard group, font group, paragraph group, and the styles group, and editing. So there's different groups for each one of these different tabs that's associated there. You also notice that there's a little button that's next to it and just about most of all the corners on here, and that's what we call the launcher. So if we ever say the font group launcher, we're talking about this little bottom button right here. We talked a little bit about the quick access toolbar that's on here that uses pretty much the most frequently used commands, and typically it's save, undo, and repeat. but that's fully customizable. You can click on this little button right here and you can add some more commands to that quick access toolbar. The title bar, which we said, is at the top of the program window, and it's going to give you the name of the program as well as the document name you're working with. The Office button actually took place of the File menu in older versions of Word, and it opens up a menu of commands related to managing and sharing of documents. So it's such things as New, Open, Save, Save As. And also a great button to use as well as the Microsoft Office Help button, which is a little question mark here. If we take a look right here, and I'm circling it with my mouse pointer here, that is the Microsoft Office Help button. And that is a great tool to help you out to determine up how to use some of the tools in Word. The document window, where we previously seen where it said blank document, will display the current document that you're working on, while the rulers will show your margins, any tabs that are set, and indents settings that are there. And we'll work with those in different units. And of course, the scroll bar, as you've seen before in previous sections, is used to display different parts of the document in the document window. The view buttons, which we'll take a look at here after a while, are going to be used to switch how it looks on your screen, and whether it looks more like a web page, whether it looks full screen, and those type of things. There's also the zoom level button and the zoom slider, and those are quick ways to get a close-up look at your document or to zoom out of your document, and those are only on-screen views. That doesn't affect how it prints out on the printer. And then, as we said on there, there's the status bar that shows page information such as the location of the insertion point and the status of several different Word features. So let's take a quick look at Word here, and just showing you a few of the main features that's there. First of all, we have here the Office button. And like I said, that replaced the File. So you notice that there's the New, Open, Save, Save As, Print, and all those other features that we will be using. The Quick Access Toolbar here has on here where it has Save. Now notice when I place my mouse pointer over this, it actually gives me what's called a screen tip. And that screen tip tells me the name of the command and also the keyboard shortcut. For in this example, Control plus S means that that's how you save a document using a keyboard shortcut. If you don't know what any of the buttons are, just put your mouse pointer over it and it will tell you what it is. In this case, it can undo anything, but if I could undo something, that would be called the undo. Of course, here's the title bar, which actually tells us that the default name of our file, which is Document 1, and all files opened up by default are going to be called Document 1, and also the name of the program. Of course, you can change the file name when you actually do your first Save As. Of course, we also have our command buttons here of the Close, Minimize and Restore, or Maximize, or Restore Down and Maximize, and then our Minimize. And of course, here we have our different tabs that we had. Here's the Home tab, which we looked at earlier. But notice as you click through these, the ribbon changes with different commands in it. So each of those is going to have some different commands for you to do different tasks. Of course, notice that we have the rulers here, and that's going to show us our margins, which is the grayed out area, which is areas that we typically don't type in. And then the white area, which is where we can type, and that's where you also set your tabs, which we'll look at later on. Here's the scroll bar that we were looking at earlier. There's our insertion point, and notice that as I type, the insertion point moves to the right every time I type a letter. Down at the bottom, we have our status bar here, which tells us, what section am I in, the page number, and that is fully customizable, and you can change that on there. And over here is the different view buttons, in which you'll notice that there's some different view names that are there. And if I click on these, they just make the document look just a little bit different on there. So there's what it would look like if it was a web page, and all the different other views, and we'll get into those a little bit more later on. Here is the view zoom button on there. If I click on that, it's going to bring up the zoom dialog box, and I can actually change my zoom levels that's on there. Or I can also click on my slider here to increase this up or to shrink it down. So you notice that the document gets smaller or the document gets bigger on there. So those are some of the basic elements of the Word window. When we come back with the next video, we're going to be actually working on starting a document. So the video will be just a little bit different than this video, in which you're going to have to pause the video on occasions to actually, or when you get done with the video on there, follow the set of directions that's out of the textbook. So we will catch that up on video 2. So we will see you then.